Hi everyone, we're going to look at the written method for multiplication with whole numbers in this video. There will be another video for multiplication with decimals that will be posted at a later date. So to start off then we've got a sum which is 12 times 8. Now as I've said, this is a written method. It may be that you can calculate this mentally, if so awesome. However, if we're going to look at the written method, we need to consider first of all the place value of each of the digits in my sum. So 8 is 8 units. However, 12 is made up of 1, 10 and a 2. And these two things have been added together. Now this is important for the method that we're going to use for multiplication. We're going to use what's commonly called the box or the grid method. So we are going to set it up where this digit here, so our 12, is on the top row here. So I need to split this up into 2. And I'm going to place the 10. So the 10's, the 110 from my 12 and the 2 units there. And then on the side here. And then on the row here, I'm going to place my 8. And I now do some multiplication. So in this space here, it is going to be the answer to 10 times 8. 10 times 8 is 80. In this space here, it's going to be the answer to 2 times 8. 2 times 8, double 8, is 16. So when I do the separate multiplications, I end up with 80 and 16. And I now need to use my addition skills that we've looked at previously to do 80 add 16. So 0 add 6 gives me 6. 8 tens add 1 tens gives me 9 tens or 90. So I've got an answer of 12 times 8. The answer is 96. So the key principles are ensuring that we consider the place value of each of our digits of the numbers up here, ensuring that it's set up into the grid properly, and then making sure that we add here. Moving on then, we've now got an example where we are multiplying a 2-digit number by another 2-digit number. I'm going to split these numbers up again just for an example for you. You don't have to do this every time. I'm hoping that you'll become fluent in spotting these. So 20 is made up of 20 and a 3. 36 is made up of 30 and a 6. So this time when I set up my grid, I'm going to need 2 columns. One column to represent my 20, one column to represent my 3. Then I'm also going to need 2 rows. One row to represent 30 and one row to represent 6 here on the side. And again, we're going to do some multiplication within our grid method now. So the first one I'm going to do is 20 times by 30. So the easy way of doing this is to do 2 times 3 to give me 6. And then I need to multiply it by 10 because I was dealing with 20 and not 2. So 6 times 10 is 60. And then by another 10 here, 60 times 10 is 600. So my answer here is 600. I'm then going to do 30 times by 3. Again, 3 times 3 is 9. However, I need to make my answer 10 times bigger as I was dealing with 30 and not 3. So the answer here is 90. Similarly, 20 times 6. Well, 6 times 2 is 12. However, I was dealing with 20, not 2. So my answer needs to get 10 times bigger to 120. And then 6 times 3 is 18. Now I need to add all these values up to get my answer. So I'm going to do 600. And a good strategy, if you do end up with a lot of numbers, is to just tick each one off as you've added them in. 120. And I'm being really careful with ensuring that I'm considering the place value of each digit as I'm adding them in. 90 and 18. I'm going to add these together. So 0 add 0 add 0 gives me 8 units. 2 add 9 add 1 gives me 12. Lots of 10. So I'm going to put 2 10s in there and then carry 10 10s over into my 100 column. 600 add 100 add another 100 gives me 800. So 23 times by 36 is 828. Okay, so moving on now to look at an example with a 3-digit number. It is the same skill in terms of thinking of each number broken down in terms of its place value. So we've got a grid that I'm going to set up. However, this time I've got 3 digits, therefore I'm going to need 3 columns. The 1 represents 100, 2 tens represents 20, and 4 units, and we're multiplying this by 6. So 6 lots of 100 gives me 600, 6 lots of 20 gives me 120, 6 lots of 4 gives me 24. So I go into my addition, 120 and 24. 0 add 0, add 4 gives me 4, 2 add 2 also gives me 4, 6 add 1 gives me 7. So therefore 124 times by 6 gives me 744. And moving on to our final example now. This is just a slightly more difficult example where we're multiplying a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number. So I'm going to make my grid fairly large for this one. Okay, so we've got 204. Notice how I've only given myself 2 columns, even though I've got a 3-digit number. This is a nice example. I have no tens. So if I did have a column here representing how many tens I had, it would be 0. And we know in maths that anything multiplied by 0 gives me 0 as an answer. So if we have no tens or there, we don't need to consider that in our calculation. So we can just split the number 204 up into 2 hundreds and a 4. And then the number 14 goes to a 10 and a 4. Then 200 times by 10 gives me 2000. 10 times by 4 gives me 40. 200 times by 4 gives me 800. And 4 lots of 4 gives me 16. So I'm going to go into my addition now. So I've got 2,840 and 16. Gives me 6, 5, 8, 2. So the answer is 2,856. So there are a couple examples of multiplication using the box or the grid method, which is our preferred method of Blackwell Comprehensive. The reason being is that this can be applied to algebra later on at Key Stage 4. Therefore, we want everybody to learn one consistent method for multiplication.